everyone, welcome back to another video. So I know it's kind of been a little while. I haven't really been posting that often recently. One is due to my work schedule is absolutely destroyed currently. So I'm working multiple days in a row, not having much time off. But also, Stellar Blade. So what is coming for that is I am currently working on the platinum for the game, and I'm currently working on making sure I have all of the bosses recorded. Um, and I'm also going to give my little tips for getting the platinum for this game as well. It'll be two separate videos. So one will be my discussion on the platinum, and another will be my discussion on, well, my boss rankings. Both will be spoiler related. So I'm currently working on those a lot. I will not be uploading any videos on Pantheon or anything like that. I still don't even have my day one raid team like quite together yet. I still got to find a few more people, and one person on my team is kind of questionable at the moment whether or not they'll be able to do it. So there's that. In terms of when Final Shape releases, I'll be uploading I'll be doing my best. It really depends on my work schedule. I will try my absolute best to upload the campaign videos as soon as possible. I might even sacrifice there might not even be a thumbnail on it, just so I can try to get it up as soon as possible before the day one raid. But here let's get into the beautiful, lovely TWAB, because this one's kind of a major one. Now, I'm not going to talk about any of these. No one at Bungie really plays Titan. You can look on just dozens of previous live streams, dozens of previous decisions. Barely anyone at Bungie actually plays Titan. The majority of them are hunters, and then some are warlocks. But barely anybody on Bungie actually plays Titan. So I'm not even going to bother watching this one. So, but those are on YouTube if y'all want to see this. Now, these are the exotic class items. These will not be accessible before the raid. So that's something of note. I'm not going to be discussing Hunter or Warlock necessarily. Um, Interesting. They put Titan in the middle, which is I guess I will discuss some of these. These are what hunters can get. Just so y'all can see. I'll show y'all Warlock and then I'll go in depth on Titan. But those are the Warlocks. They look the exact same. Okay. Now for Titans. First column, Assassin. This one actually might be good. Powered melee, final blows, gaining invisibility. That might be really good for a throwing hammer, but guess what? We don't have throwing hammer. Heart of Innermost Light. This one will actually be decent. But if this doesn't increase its damage, then that still makes Consecration really bad. Spirit of Ophidians, that's terrible. Spirit of Severance, unleash damage like explosion. This is not as good as makes it seem. It's best with Throwing Hammer. It really is best with Throwing Hammer, or if you're running Banner of War, this is really good. But other than that, it's not that great. Hoarfrost, that's fine. Eternal Warrior. Get it when you're for your super's element when your super ends. Interesting. Because it won't stack, it probably will not stack with surges. It's still going to be fucking useless because surges, I believe, grant a higher damage bonus. So that's just going to be terrible. Ambient Leap, which is fine. Spirit of the Bear, move faster while guarding with the Unbreakable Shield. I don't care. All of this first column is not good. The only ones that I would argue that might be fine is Innermost Light for the regen. Spirit of Assassin, but the only issue is Titans don't benefit from being invisible. The only one that's decent in here is Air. Just aren't great. I would say Heart of Innermost Light with Armamentarium with like Blinding Nades would be good, but too bad we don't have access to half of our fucking kit. Star Eater, Super Energy is full, pick up Orb. This would be only good for Thunder Crash. It can't be paired with anything else that would actually help. Besides, I don't know, we don't have Shoulder Charge. Yeah, we don't even have Shoulder Charge, so never mind. God, So much of these class item stuff are completely useless because we don't have access to most of the kit. And I believe these can only be used for prismatic as well. Um, I believe these can only be used with prismatic, which sucks because most of them would only be useful without prismatic. I'm trying to read here. Yeah, I think these can only be worn by prismatic, which sucks because most of these are fucking useless. Verities, weapon final blows, grenade energy. This would be good with Heart of Innermost Life if you're running like fusion nades, but I don't think Titans got fusion nades. I don't think Titans got fusion nades. The only other grenade I'd be good with would be Swarm. Because I use Swarm. Well, I guess Solar Grenade. No, wait. I think Warlock's got Solar. Hold on a second. Real quick, let me pull up. Let me pull up. No. Not this. That's Dark Souls Remastered mods. There. There. I need to see the Prismatic. I think this was the last TWAB we had. No, that's Into the Light shenanigans. I need the Prismatic Deets. I need the Prismatic Deets. By the way, 0 Hour is coming next week, so y'all will be seeing a video on my first thoughts on that. I've also have never done, I've never actually done 0 Hour when it was around. I only did the Whisper mission, so it'd actually be pretty new for me. Okay, Titans. Oh, fuck. We got Thermite Grenade? Oh, my God. 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 The only one that might be good? No, because we can't blind. I guess Shackle would be the only good one to be with. I will say Knockout in combination with Spirit of Assassin might be decent. Getting that invisible, once you melee. But you really need that extra melee damage, which you don't have access to necessarily. Rift? Oh, I'm looking at Warlock. Okay, I was like, what the fuck? I'm confused. I will say Spirit of Severance will actually be pretty good with Titan melee. So, like, Spirit of Severance with Syntheseps with Knockout would probably be the way to go for Titan survivability, to be honest. Damaging a target with the power of melee calls all nearby enemies to suffer lightning strikes to become jolted. I wonder if this works without arc as well, because like solar consecration could work pretty well with that. Final blows with weapons, damaging. Oh, we have scars. Okay, that's actually this actually makes it survivable. It sucks that most of these perks are terrible. Spirit of the Horn, your barricade clashes as a solar bro. Okay, so we got Horror, Crest of Alpha Loopy, which I don't know why we got that. Armamentarium. Spirit of Scars is going to be necessary. Parallels the weapons that have damage type matching your super creates a burst of healing around you. That grants allies restoration. This helps with survivability, but nothing over here really helps with weapons necessarily. I feel like Spirit of Verity should have been opposite to Spirit of Scars, because that's a weapon one. I gotta be honest, these exotic Titan marks aren't great. Because generally speaking, from the Titan's perspective, for Void, we have no exotics yet to help the super. And for the aspects and whatnot, we don't have a particular exotic currently in the game to actually help with that. For your super, you are using Karis of the Falling Star. The real test is going to be, will Star Eater be able to outdo Kiris? That's going to be the big issue, is if is Kiris going to be able to outdo Star Eater? Because we do know that at least it's heavily suspected that these perks are going to be coming out nerfed. If that is the case, there's no point in running Star Eater over Kiris. It's just the fact of the matter. For Strand, the only one we really have is Ambient Leap, which, yes, we'll have here, but, like, the only one that's really going to help with this is maybe... Because Shackle Grenade does not benefit from damage bonus. Half of Titan's grenades do not benefit from a damage bonus. Suppressor does not benefit. Shackle does not benefit. Glacier does not benefit unless they are fixing how Glacier grenades work. Because stasis in general works a little bit weirdly. So if that is fixed, then that might work, but currently the only things it's going to work with is Pulse and Thermite, which I hate Thermite grenades. For Solar Titan, I only use Fusion. Most of the time I use Swarm, and then the only other one I use is Solar Grenade when I'm in damage rotations. This is really rough. This is really bad. For Titans, it is really, really bad. It's so bad. I don't know why Pyrogales should be here. If you have Consecration, Pyrogales should be here. The only reason why I even have a drive to use Consecration is for Pyrogales. Why isn't it here? I don't understand why it's not here. And if you want to argue, oh, it can only be used with a certain ability, Daringer's Lash. Why is Ambient Leap here? If they didn't want something class like specific. There were so many better options they could have chosen for that first column. The first column's ass. I do not see a point in doing any of the extra content for Lightfall as a Titan. Their Prismatic is going to be worse than any build that you can use, well, almost any build that you can use for Titan. And these exotic class items are just fucking useless. They would have to have their non-nerf version, and even then, I still would not go out of my way to use them, for the most part. Of course, this is without us testing things. Oh, here we are. All of these exotic class item perks will only work when you have the prismatic subclass equipped. Yeah, I'm not going to be using any of them. We knew we couldn't fit everyone's perk without making the pools available roles too large. However, we are also making a set of exotic armor balance adjustments with the launch of the final shape. Okay, including some buffs that will impact both the original and its spirit. Okay. Interesting. So a bunch of exotic armor is getting reworked, it looks like. Okay, I guess we'll have to wait to see those for my thoughts. I'm not really going to discuss Pantheon that much. I know they have added Oryx here. The emblems are cool. I have Atrax's emblem. I will be going for Oryx's as well. Now, deep sight weapons. They have added all, essentially, okay, amazing news for more newer players and also veteran players that don't have all the DLCs. Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, and Witch Queen are all completely free. Completely free. I would heavily suggest while they are free, go grab Deepstone Crypt weapons. Go grab Vow of the Disciple weapons. For Vow of the Disciple, you need to grab Forbearance. Craft it Forbearance with, yes, Chain Reaction and Ambitious Assassin. The strong part of Forbearance isn't necessarily Chain Reaction, it is the Origin trait. Also, that's where you can get a Linear Fusion Rifle with Bait and Switch. Cataclysmic. I went with 4th times Bait and Switch. Other than that, none of the weapons you really need. For Deepstone Crypt, grab a Heritage, Reconstruction, Recombination. Grab a Succession. Personally, I would go with Reconstruction Vorpal. That is what I use for solo. That is my solo sniper. For damage, I have my Last Wish sniper for group damage, but for solo damage, I use Succession. And also, Posterity is honestly the best arcane cannon. There aren't that many good arcane cannons in the game right now. All of them are almost garbage, but Posterity is one of the best. Go with Frenzy and Volt Shot. That is going to be your god roll, Frenzy and Volt Shot. And Trustee, Incandescent, Reconstruction, Commemoration. I go with Reconstruction Focus Fury. That's probably kind of a hot take in terms of rolls. But Deepstone Crypt, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Also, make sure you get Lament from Beyond Light, get Parasite from Witch Queen so you can just farm Atrax. Shadowkeep, get Xenophage. Like, all that stuff is free. Also, every single season this year is free. Which is great. I'm fine with it. Now, for Season of Defiance, none of the Defiance weapons I would recommend going out of your way to get. I'm just going to be strictly honest. None of the seasonal weapons this whole entire season have impressed me. None of them. Except for one. There's only one. There's two actually. There's 2 weapons that I've actually used from these seasons after crafting them. But Avalon, make sure you get the Vex Caliber. Vex Caliber is extremely good, especially if you are a Titan. You get an overshield when you guard with it. It is extremely good with void builds, especially since with offensive bulwark. Really good. Season of the Deep has my first only weapon, but it's my first weapon that I actually use for Banner of War Titan, and that is the Strand Sword, Vortex 4 Sword. And I believe I use Chain Reaction or Hatchling, some combination thereof. I think I actually use Unrelenting Chain Reaction. I think that's the role I go with. But it's really good with Banner of War. Uh, Also in Deep Dives is the Exotic Scout Rifle Wicked Implement. I would heavily suggest that it can stun overloads and unstoppables, because slow stuns overloads and freeze stuns unstoppables. So make sure you get that Scout Rifle. And Season of the Witch, I use the Fusion Rifle. The Fusion Rifle Heal Clip Reservoir Burst, I believe, is actually what I use, not Incandescent. I don't even know. Okay. I use Heal Clip Reservoir Burst. That's the only way. Those are the only two weapons that I use from any season. Tells Fire is fine. It's whatever. Season of the Witch and the Coil. I believe the exotic mission for the Strand Bow is available for free as well. Go ahead and cop that. Legendary difficulty. It is very difficult. Find yourself a fire team. Now, 0 hour is near, which is great because I haven't done it. Again, they've said 40 minutes on normal, 20 minutes on legend, which is great. I will be going for rapid hit. So there's that. Trevor's near 2. Okay, interesting. Share best moments with him. Okay, interesting. They are adding new PvP maps, which I'm not a PvP guy, so yeah. And again, here's Shadowkeep, Beyond Light, and Witch Queen are all free. All of these year 6 seasons are free as well, which is absolutely fantastic. I've already kind of said my stuff. Since it's only going to be around for a month, don't bother with Pit of Heresy. Don't bother with Garden of Salvation unless you want Divinity. Really focus on Deepstone Crypt and also get focus on Vow of the Disciple for loot. The Gauntlet returns. This is something I don't know very much about. Team Bungie complete in the Gauntlet. Oh, it's a tabletop game tournament. Okay. Stuff is all good. There's that information. Asian Heritage American Month. This is a really cool emblem, honestly. This is a pretty good looking emblem, I gotta admit. So there's that. There's all of that good stuff for y'all. Rescue Archery? Okay, I guess there was a glitch with this, which is fine. Parental controls? What? In May, parents, guardians, and other responsible adults will be able to adjust their child's Destiny 2 settings. What? I didn't know that this was going to happen. As mentioned in our recent, we are continuing with our episode to play. Privacy, safety, our goal. Okay, if you haven't already, okay. Known issues. Players are not receiving rewards from one of the secret chests and the Spanish version. Okay, that's so weird. Okay. Okay, all good. Alright. That is the TWAB. Now, of course, I'm not going to call it the TWID. Some other little last bits that I do want to point out. Number one, just letting y'all know, you can, based on what I've seen and heard, you will be able to enhance the perks on both the normal and the limited edition variations of the Brave Arsenal. Now, now that Witch Queen and Shadowkeep, or Witch Queen and Beyond Light are free, there really is way less of a reason to even farm for Forbearance and Succession. I would not bother with those. The Origin trait is better on their respective raids. Now, in terms of the weapons, me personally, if you want to know my personal god rolls, I'm going to give it to you really quickly. Mount Top, auto-loading, raid combination. That's the perk for it. You can replace auto-loading with Impulse Amplifier, but auto-loading and recombination. And Succession, if you want to go for it, Reconstruction, Focus Fury, for Forbearance, Ambitious Assassin, Chain Reaction, Recluse. I went with Destabilizing rounds and desperate measures. Repulsor's brace and destabilizing round doesn't work on most of these SMGs they've been coming out recently because the SMGs are just too weak. You need that extra damage from desperate measures. An alternative role would be frenzy, either frenzy or desperate measures, and then destabilizing rounds. Now also, Revolving Guillotine has two. I have Repulsor's Brace and Destabilizing for Overshield and Banner of War OPness. But also for damage, I currently have Vorpal and Whirlwind. Uh, I don't like Surrounded. Being realistic here, in generally speaking, you should not go for Surrounded on a sword. Unless you are solo, unless you are playing solo a lot, you should never ever go for Surrounded on a sword. Due to, number one, in a raid situation, somebody's going to kill the Az around you. You will lose surrounded, and that is a major buff to be losing. So it's better to have a guaranteed damage buff than something that can be lost easily. Also, occasionally, some bosses that can be sorted that enemies come close to, the boss can kill them as well. So, keep that in mind. That's why I do not go for surrounded. Vorpal is, and also Frenzy is a little bit too much work to keep up. I just like, hey, I'm whipping out the sword, now I'm damaging. That's it. No extra stuff. And Vorpal weapon is still a 10% damage bonus for heavy weapons. Now, also, Edge Transit, I'm going for auto-loading bait and switch. In the fourth column, you can go for Explosive Light or bait and switch. I believe some people have gone for Envious Assassin and Cascade Point on the third column, but getting a limited edition is quite rare, so that's why I plan on going with either Envious and Bait and Switch or Autoload and Bait and Switch. Because in order to have really be a part of Cascade Point, you need them on the same column. Also, just a side note about people that are using that perk currently, they are going to be nerfing it. Keep that in mind. So it won't be as OP as it is now. Now, Luna's Howl, I went with Heal Clip Incandescent. It is better than Zali's Bane. Y'all can fight about it in the comments, but I personally like it more than Zali's Bane. The only issue with Zali's is that it cannot really heal an expo payload. I'm not a necessarily huge proponent of. Like on Fatebringer, I have Rewind Rounds and Firefly, not explosive payload. But Heal Clip Incandescent is extremely good, especially if you are in higher end content, solo content, and you do not want to run Precious Scars. So for Titan. So there's that. Midnight Coup, I have Expo Payload Kinetic Tremors. If that is the role you want. You can do Outlaw Kinetic Tremors. One of those two, go for that. And I believe I covered all the weapons. Oh, Hung Jury. I forgot about Hung Jury. If you have an adept version of Hung Jury, don't bother. If you don't, go with Kinetic Tremors, as per usual. And I think it was like 4 times or something like that. I forget what's in the third column. Some reloading perk, just get Kinetic Tremors. As on that note, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully, sometime next week, maybe this week if I'm fast enough, you will have one of the Solar Blade video up. Next week, you should have 0 Hour up at some point. On that note, I will catch y'all on the flip side.